Hey, what's going on? Luke here. It's time to cue up the Harry Potter music because it is Magic Round. All the games have been played at Suncorp Stadium for this round. I guess it's officially called Round 10, but for me, it's going to be Magic Round, and I feel like for everyone else, it's going to be Magic Round. Now, there's some absolutely incredible games being played. Some of the ones that we've been waiting for all season, they're all played in this round. Now, the round is a little bit different in the sense that there's no Thursday football this round. It's only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but that's okay with me. It's all played at Suncorp. The only problem is the weather isn't supposed to be that good up there, so field could get chopped up a little bit, but let's just see how it goes, and let's also see my tips and predictions for round 10, or Magic Round. I'm just going to call it Magic Round. So the first game of the round sees the Spoon Bowl. It sees my Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs taking on the Newcastle Knights. Now, I'd love to sit here and say, yes, the Bulldogs are going to win this one. They're going to win it well. They're going to win 13 plus. No way they lose to the bottom place Knights. But I really can't say that. If you actually look at both of these sides, look at them on paper, I feel like the Knights have got the better side. Just haven't been able to put it together on the field. They've got a great forward pack. They've got Ponga there. They've got a lot of good players in the side. The spine is definitely very, very weak compared to the rest of the side. But you'd think having guys, I know Gagai's not playing this week, but you'd think having guys like Bradman Best and Kalen Ponga, even Edric Lee's pretty serviceable. They've got a good enough team, they just can't get the job done for some reason. Same can sort of be said for the Bulldogs, but there's still a lot of question marks over a lot of the players for the Bulldogs. A lot of them were off cuts from other teams, or guys who sort of couldn't really get in the side consistently over the last couple of years, and now they're playing, and it sort of reflects on the field. One week they can do it against the Roosters, the next they're coming up against a team like the Raiders who can't beat anybody essentially, and we get smashed. So very, very frustrating time to be a Bulldogs fan. Very, very frustrating time to be a Knights fan. Now, in terms of picking a winner here, I feel like it's a complete toss-up. Like, either one could win this one. My heart says the Bulldogs. My head's sort of saying the Knights. Like, I feel like this is a game the Knights can win. I feel like Kalen Ponga can really shine against a team like the Bulldogs. But I am going to be tipping the Bulldogs. I think it is going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 1-12. I don't know how much you want to go off this one because I feel like there's a lot of bias in this one, but I'm going to go Bulldogs 1-12. The next game sees the Manly Warringah Seagulls taking on not the home team, but kind of the home team, the Brisbane Broncos. They're playing at Suncorp, but they're officially the away side. I find that very, very strange. I feel like by default the Broncos should just be like the home team. Why should Manly lose a home game taking on the Broncos at Suncorp? It feels very, very strange. But look, Tom Trbojevic is back for them. He played last week. I don't think he looked that good. I feel like he is still a little bit injured, but he's still playing. But for the Broncos, Payne Haas is back, Kirk Capewell's back, and just the Broncos in general are back. Now, they have dropped Hetherington onto the bench. I find that kind of strange. I feel like a lot of the positive things that the Broncos have been doing, a lot of it is around Kobe Hetherington, so I find that quite strange. But in terms of the form, you've got to go with the Broncos for this one. The Broncos have been in great form, especially playing in front of home crowd, but the away crowd. I feel like they could really rally behind this Brisbane side. And I feel like Manly, if Manly play alright, like I feel like Tommy Trbojevic and Cherry Evans and all that, I feel like they can get them home, but there's still so many youngsters in this Manly side. If you actually take a look at the Manly lineup, there's a lot of guys you're looking at it and you're probably not even sure who they really are. So, look, I think the Broncos are going to win this one. I think it will be a tight one. I think Manly will stay in the contest, but I'm going to be tipping the Broncos 1-12. Now, already moving on to Saturday. Next up is the New Zealand Warriors taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Both of these sides have been pretty terrible this season. Like, let's be real. Both of them haven't looked very good. At times, been able to put it together, but just in terms of the actual season overall, they haven't been that good. Both of them sit outside the top 8. Both of them are looking for a win here, and they need a win here. I feel like the Rabbitohs are more likely, but at the same time, the Warriors are so unpredictable. They could come out and absolutely flog this Rabbitohs side. They could also come out and have Cody Walker run amok and have 40 put on them themselves. So they're just one of those sides, the Warriors. They're very hard to read. Same can be said for the Rabbitohs, though. Very hard to read themselves. One week you look at them and you go, yeah, no, they're still that top 8 side. That's why they made the grand final last year. It's why they've been so good. They're always so consistent. And then the very next week, they'll come out and lose to a team like the Tigers. It's just, I can't get a read in the Rabbitohs. Like I said, one week they look pretty good. The next week they look like total shit. I don't really know where to go with this one because it really depends what teams turn up. If the Warriors turn up and throw the ball around a little bit, I think they can trouble the Rabbitohs. But just in terms of just overall ability-wise, I feel like the Rabbitohs should win this one. I think it will be a close one. I think the Warriors will go with them for a little bit. And once again, I'm thinking the Rabbitohs are going to win another 1-12 game. I think it's going to be Rabbitohs 1-12. Next up sees a very interesting game where the Gold Coast Titans, who I guess would be the home team because they're the Queensland side, but they come up against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I feel like for this game, it's another hard one to pick. I feel like this round has been very, very hard to pick so far. A lot of tightly contested games. Like, there's not a lot of mismatches at the moment. So far, there's not really been a mismatch at all. Now, the Dragons have been playing pretty decent. Okay, they haven't really been playing decent, but they've been getting some results. They do have a very strange like lineup wise, like Mbai's still playing at fullback, Jack Bird's still in the halves. It's not who I would pick in that side, but it sort of is working for them, I guess. And then you've got the Titans, who have a lot of good players. They put a lot of money in some of these players, but they're just not getting the results on the field. Jaden Campbell is back for them. Brimson's still in the halves. I don't know what you do with them two, because I feel like Brimson should be the fullback, but you got Campbell there as well. So I feel like you're going to have to play both of them. But yeah, the Titan side, it's very strange. I can't get a read on them once again. It just feels like maybe a lack of leadership. I know Fogarty, a lot of people talk about Fogarty was pretty poor last year, and he's gone to the Raiders and he got injured straight away. So I don't necessarily think it's a huge loss, but just having someone who is a leader on the field, I feel like they're missing that, because their captain is Tino, who's only been in first grade for a couple of seasons now. So I think that kind of, it says a lot about the state of the Titans at the moment. But the Titans are a side that I could see them coming out and absolutely smashing the Dragons. But I'm feeling a Dragons gritty win. I can just feel it coming. I feel like it's going to be gritty. I think it's probably going to be less than 10 points, but we'll just be safe here. We'll go 1 to 12 Dragons. By the way, I just need to mention, Dave Fifita is out, and I feel like if he was playing, I would have said something totally different. I probably would have tipped the Titans. That's how good of a player he is, especially against a team like the Dragons. I feel like individual efforts would be something that's going to get the Titans home, and just having him there would help out so much. Now to the last game of Saturday, probably the game of the round. It sees the Penrith Panthers taking on the Melbourne Storm. In fact, the Storm are actually the home side, and I feel like the Storm's record at Suncorp is pretty good. However, last year they didn't get the chocolates against the Panthers at Suncorp, so I'm pretty sure it was at Suncorp anyways. But the Panthers absolutely flying, Storm absolutely flying, but no Ryan Pappenhausen. Nick Meaney moves to fullback. Now, I feel like when the game was happening, someone asked me and was like, oh, who do you reckon is going to win, Panthers or the Storm? And I was like, Storm going to win. And then Pappenhausen got hurt, and I was like, ooh, that changes things. It definitely changes things. Pappenhausen has been so good for him. You can say for sure that he's been the form fullback of the comp at the moment. Taking him out of the side, taking him out of any side. You take a lot of the fullbacks out of the side, the first string one anyways, and I feel like your team's going to suffer big time. Pappenhausen has been so good for him, and there's no Nico Hines to step in this year. Last year, we got to see them play without Pappenhausen a fair bit, but Nico Hines was the one to step in, and we've seen how good Nico Hines is. We've seen Nick Meaney play fullback quite a bit for the Bulldogs. He's shown little bits and pieces of being good, but definitely is no Ryan Pappenhausen. It'll be interesting to see, just for Nick Meaney's development, just for his career, just to see what he can do at playing as a fullback, not in a Bulldog side. Because I've always wondered, like, he is quick, he does seem pretty silky on the ball. When he plays on the wing for the Storm, he looks amazing. So can he do it at fullback? I think he can, but coming up against the Panthers first up, going to be a tough ask. Now, I think Melbourne will really take it to him, but I feel like Panthers just have that little bit of an edge over them, especially after beating them last year. I know the Storm are going to be absolutely fired up for this game, but the Panthers have been so good for so long, and I know they lost last week, but that's sort of all the more reason for them to be even more fired up about this game, taking on a team like the Storm. They just lost to the Eels. If they lose to the Storm, there's going to be a lot of question marks about the Panthers in 2022. So I feel like it's very, very important for the Panthers to win this one, more than the Melbourne. So in terms of picking a result, I think it is going to be a very, very close one. Wouldn't be surprised at all if it's a golden point, if it's by a field goal or something like that. But I'm going to go the Penrith Panthers 1 to 12. Now moving on to Sunday afternoon football, and we have 3 games to talk about for this one. A little bit weird considering there's only normally 2, I'm pretty sure. But we have the Sharks up against the Raiders for the first game. I feel like the Sharks, if like the last couple of weeks, for sure would win this one. But now that Will Kennedy is out, Nico Hines shifts to fullback. It was a great win last week, no doubt about that. Obviously having Kennedy get sent off after a couple of minutes or so, like having him not there for most of the game and then still winning, as well as a sin bin as well. Like, credit to him, great defense, great attack. They looked really, really good despite being a man down. But this is the Warriors we're talking about. If there's any team that was going to lose to a team like that, it'd be the New Zealand Warriors. Maybe the Bulldogs. But the Warriors, they don't surprise me as a team who would lose to the Sharks like that. So, on one hand, very impressive from the Sharks, but also was against the Warriors. The Raiders, on the other hand, sort of similar circumstances. Yeah, they got the win last week, but it was against the Bulldogs. It was such a Bulldogs thing to do. Beat the Roosters, come out and lose to the Raiders. So I don't really buy in too much on the previous weeks in terms of this game. I will say the Sharks overall have been so much better than the Raiders. They should win this one. The Raiders can step it up. They can match it. They do have a lot of good players. But I just feel like the Sharks, they've got to win this one, right? They haven't really been in the best of form the last couple of weeks, but I still think they can get the job done. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win well. I think this might be the first 13 plus I'm going to do. I think Sharks run away with it. Now into the second game on Sunday, which sees the Sydney Roosters taking on the Parramatta Eels. Now I know I already talked about Melbourne and the Panthers being game of the round, but this is definitely right up there. You've got the Eels who just beat the Panthers last week up against the Roosters, who they got a good win against the Titans, but it's the Titans. They just lost to the Bulldogs. They just lost to the Dragons. Is this a turnaround for the Roosters? Maybe. There's a lot of talk about a rift between Luke Keary and the coach Robinson. I don't think that's the case, but they definitely aren't performing up to scratch, or at least where I think they should be. They are definitely underperforming, whereas you've got the Eels who had been underperforming, but then they stepped up against the Panthers, and they step up against teams like the Roosters, like the Panthers, like the Storm. For some reason, they seem to be able to trouble them. I don't know if it's like a thing where their team can only get up against those sides, and they can't do it against the bottom sides, but game against the Roosters, I feel like this is the Eels' bread and butter, although at the same time, the Roosters, they need a game like this to get them going, in my opinion. This will make or break the Roosters. If they win, perfect. They sort of shut a lot of the doubters up, including myself. Whereas if they lose, then everyone who was already having doubts over the Roosters, they start having even more, a lot more pressure on the team, a lot of pressure on the coach. You start looking at the players, you start saying, do we actually need Cameron Munster? Do we get rid of Keary? Do we get rid of a Walker? I don't know exactly what you do, but there's going to be a lot of talk that hasn't happened for a long time with the Roosters. For me, I feel like the Eels are actually going to win this one. I think the Eels are capable of it. I think it's going to be a tight one. I have no confidence in actually picking a winner for this one, but I'm going to be going the Eels 1-12. Now into the last game of the round. It sees the West Tigers taking on a red-hot North Queensland Cowboys. Can't believe I'm saying that in 2022. Really didn't think I was going to be saying that, especially considering who they actually signed. Chad Townsend, Tom Dearden, Drinkwater's looking really good at fullback. A lot of these guys in 2022, I would have said, no way. Like, some of them, I knew they're decent, but I didn't think they'd be landing them in the top 4, and that's exactly where the Cowboys are. They are absolutely flying. A team who's not flying, though, is the Tigers. They had that spell of 2 weeks where they looked pretty good, but they're sort of back to the normal Tigers. They try hard, they attack pretty decent, but they leak in some pretty easy tries and they end up losing ultimately. And the Cowboys are really, really good in attack this year. They are really, really good. Defense is quite good. We saw them beat the Eels a couple of weeks ago. They can beat the top teams. They can smoke these bottom teams. The Cowboys, very, very interesting. I don't know if they can keep it up throughout the whole season, but they are looking really, really good. For me, this one, I was talking about mismatches and how there wasn't many. I feel like this is pretty much the only real mismatch of the whole round, and that's because the Cowboys unexpectedly have been really, really good, and the Tigers have dropped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks. So for me, Cowboys win this one. I think they win it well. I think they win 13 plus. I feel like Tigers will score some points because they got enough. Like with Jackson Hastings in the side, I think they got enough to score a couple of points, but I think the Cowboys will run away with it. They just got so much strike power all over the park. In the forwards, they got try scorers. In the backs, they got try scorers. The halves going pretty good. The Cowboys in general just going really, really well. So I'm going 13 plus Cowboys. Anyways, that's how I'm going to wrap things up. Those are my tips and predictions for round 10 for Magic Round. Leave in the comment section below. What are your tips and predictions for Magic Round? Are you going to Magic Round? I really wish I was. I was just up in the area a couple of weeks ago. Didn't even realize that Magic Round was a couple of weeks away. But yeah, wish I could go maybe next year. But let me know in the comment section below what are your tips and predictions for round 10. Also go ahead and leave a like on the video if you happen to enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Been gaining a lot of subscribers as of late, so definitely go and subscribe. Use the notification bell as well when you subscribe, or if you haven't already, use the notification bell. Never miss any of my videos. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Just don't miss my videos or streams. Also go ahead and chuck me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook's Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke and YT. Give me a follow, give me an ad. Also go ahead and become a member of the channel. It helps out the channel majorly. Click on the link in the description below. It will take you straight to where you need to go to sign up. There's exclusive perks depending on what level you sign up for. You get to do different things. You get custom emojis. You get to play games with me on Rugby League Live 4. It all depends on what level you pick. So go ahead, take a look at all the levels, pick one, and become a member of the channel. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you for the next one. See yous.